Hey guys and gals, Spot the Potato here. Not a spot. Been over this. Let's move on. Now, I swear to you guys, this channel isn't becoming a NiziU fan club channel. I just so happen to have another video relating to NiziU. So, I really do care about other singers, so please don't leave, because I need you. JYP. So NiziU is the gift that just keeps on giving. They just released the Korean version of Make You Happy, so of course I have to compare the Japanese version with the Korean version. And basically anything from this point on is a scientific fact, so come at me, bro. Ain't no thing but a chicken wing. Yeah, so let's dive on in. Cue the music. Now let me start by saying I love the Japanese version, except for one thing, which over time I eventually learned to love, and it's the main chorus. And by main chorus, specifically, I mean this part. If you saw my previous video, I said it sounded like a chipmunk. But over time I got used to it and I learned to love it. Now I am happy to say the Korean version doesn't have this. I mean, they say the same thing, but the tone is completely different. Slightly different. Instead of having a more peppy sound, it's a lot flatter. They actually drag out the note a little bit more, so it sounds a bit more elegant. It's surprising how much a song can change just from one slight note. It really does give off a different feeling. As for the English, they changed one little part, which isn't a big deal, but here's a Japanese version. And then the Korean version. So yeah, as you can see, the part in Japanese is "you tell me." Why did I say it like that? The Korean version doesn't say it in English, they actually say it in Korean. So, interesting change. Now you could argue the reason for changing this is due to linguistic differences, but considering this doesn't change the flow of the song, I'm going to assume it was done to separate the Japanese version from the Korean version, ever so slightly. And in all honesty, I'm actually okay with it. And speaking of linguistic differences, I said it before and I'll say it again. In my previous video, I said they're definitely going to sing some songs in Korean because they are being produced by JYP Entertainment, a Korean company. So it'd be kind of weird for them not to sing Korean. Now, quick disclaimer, I do not speak Korean, at least not very well, but it is clear that NiziU's Korean is not perfect, which is okay. Slow down, people. Of course, this is to be expected considering most of these girls couldn't speak Korean up until the NiziU project. Now, I'm not saying their Korean is bad. If anything, their Korean is a lot better than mine. Actually, now that I think about it, when a lot of Korean groups come over to Japan, they perform their songs in Japanese, and in terms of pronunciation, doesn't sound as fluid as you would hear it in their native tongue. But honestly, that doesn't deter from the music listening experience. If anything, you could say that it enhances the experience. There's a special charm that a non-native speaker has when they sing in a different language. It's something that a native speaker could never do because native speaker. So if you think about it, it can be a plus. I mean, for example, look at groups such as Twice. Although I am a little bit concerned about Momo. To be honest, when I first heard her speak, I thought Japanese was her second language. Turns out that she's actually from Osaka. Awkward. But I have listened to enough Korean music to have a pretty decent ear for these things. And unfortunately, one of my favorite members of the group, Ayaka, is a little weak in her Korean. Makes me sad. And it doesn't help that she isn't particularly strong in singing or dancing, at least compared to the other girls. Obviously, she's a lot better than what I can do, but when you compare her to the other girls, she's not up there. If anything, it's her charm that keeps her in the public eye, in my opinion. Also, Maya seems a little off on her Korean as well. But I'm not too worried. The girls are still new to this. They've got plenty of time to get their Korean up to snuff. Is that the right phrase? Up to snuff? Up to nuff? Up to snuff. You know what I mean. Now the rap, I have some interesting opinions on that. But I will give the good news first. The rap is great in Korean. I love it. It's just as great as the Japanese version in some cases. First of all, I will say it has really good flow. But I do think Mayuka's rapping in Japanese is better than her Korean version. Her rap in Korean isn't bad, but it lacks confidence compared to the Japanese version, and that is obviously due to Korean not being her native language. On top of that, it just sounds like she memorized the lyrics and she's just regurgitating what she heard. There's no passion in it. And that's a little unfortunate. Rina, on the other hand, I think I like the Korean version more than the Japanese version. She still has all the confidence from the Japanese version. Plus, I think her rapping voice matches Korean better than it does Japanese. So the Japanese version sounds like this.
The melody, put it on repeat, you're my favorite song.
And the Korean version sounds like...
Put it on repeat, you're my favorite song.
So now we've come to the moment you've been waiting for. Which is better? The Japanese version or the Korean version? So, the winner will be announced right after our sponsor. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, seriously though, the winner is Make You Happy Japanese version. At the end of the day, the Japanese won because I feel like it was the, well, better version. It was cuter, and another downside for the Korean version was the pronunciation. Now, a lot of you might be thinking, hey, that's unfair. Korean isn't their native language. But I have to disagree. Yes, Korean is not their native language, but I can think of several songs where the non-native version of the song sounds better than the original version. For example, Wonder Girl's English version of Nobody, Kara's Japanese version of Mr., and Twice's Japanese version of Likey. If the vocals are strong, then the pronunciation kind of gets overshadowed because the vocals are so strong, along with a great rhythm and good flow. It all comes together in one big circle of life. So who knows, when NiziU releases their full album, maybe the Korean version will sound better. So, we've reached the part of the video where I ask you guys and gals to share your thoughts. Do you agree with my opinion? Do you disagree? I'm especially curious to hear why you disagree. And also, let's try to keep the comment section civil. I know K-pop fandom is really hardcore. Just be nice. Come on, guys. We gotta work together, man. We gotta do it together, man. And you J-pop fans, you also be kind. I know you guys can get a little pervy out there. No, I'm just kidding. At the end of the day, we're all on the same team, so let's just come together, discuss in a diplomatic way, and move on from there. And if you like the video, be sure to smash the like button. It lets me know that you're interested in these kind of videos, so I can make more of them. And also be sure to click the subscribe button and click the bell to be notified for future videos coming out, because, you know, I try to make a video every week. Oh, and don't forget to follow me on my Twitter. And as always, enjoy life, enjoy music. Peace.